Hello, this is Victor from Black Pisces Production, and you're watching the How to Mix Power Metal video series. In the previous part of this video series, I showed you everything you need to know about the FX tracks I used in this mix. Today, we are going to talk about the drums. The drums in this mix are fully programmed. I use Slate drums 5.5 with a stock preset from the SSD5 Deluxe 2 library called Deluxe 2 Thick Metal. I tweaked only the snare drums from this preset. I tuned them a bit lower to get more body out of them. This is how the unmixed drums sound. As you can hear, it already sounds fine on its own, but in a dance mix we will need more power. I usually start mixing the drums with the overheads and the cymbals. Many engineers like to cut out the lows from the overhead microphones and use them as cymbal microphones. I use a different approach. I like to get a more or less balanced picture of the drum kit in the overhead. I use separate channels for the hi-hat, ride and the overheads, then I send them into a group track called Cymbals. I pan the hi-hat channel 100% to the left and the ride 50% to the right. Let me show you how these channels sound before and after mixing. The tracks after mixing sound a little bit squashed, the dynamics is controlled very aggressively, and the processing brings out the cymbals and the high frequencies. As you can see, I have plugins only on the cymbals group track. When I mix sampler drums, I rarely process the hi-hat and the ride channel separately. Instead, I use the group track to process all cymbals at the same time. The first plugin on this track is the Virtual Mix Rack. I use the VCC Channel, FGS and FGA equalizers, the FG401 compressor, and the New York module. The VCC channel is set to Britain mode, the drive is at 9 dBs, and the input is dialed back by 6.3 dBs. I set the group function to 8, this way I could use these settings for any channel in the mix with just one click. These settings are used on all of my drum channels. It is a subtle change, but it adds up if you use it on more channels. The second module is the FGS EQ. I boosted the highs about 7.5 kHz by 1 dB, cut 1 dB at 5.2 kHz, cut 3 dBs at 785 Hz, and cut 1 dB at 366 Hz with the bell mode turned on. The main purpose of this module is to emphasize the highs and to cut out some unwanted frequencies. The FGA module shapes the sound a bit more. I boosted 6 dBs of 20 kHz to bring out the shimmer of the cymbals, boosted 200 Hz by 2 dBs to get more body from the snare drum, and cut out some low frequencies at 50 Hz by 2 dBs to turn down the kick drum in the overheads. After the equalizers, I use the FG401 compressor with the slowest attack and the fastest release time. I went for about -3 dBs of gain reduction with 2:1 ratio and set the makeup value to plus 1.68 dBs. The last one is the New York module that I use for saturation. The saturation value is set to 9.9. I turned down the output by 9.5 dBs to somewhat match the levels of the input and output signals of the plugin. And now I'm going to show you a before and after comparison of the VMR plugin. The second plugin I use is a simple clipper I made that is called Aggressor. The plugin is set to B mode, that means that I apply a less aggressive soft clipping type. I use this plugin to soften the transients and to add character to the signal, but you can use any clipper or saturation plugin to achieve a similar sound. I like to send the overheads and the cymbals into a room or reverb or into both, it depends on the song. In this mix I decided to send the cymbals group track into my room FX track to give it more space. But be careful not to overdo this, because you could end up really quickly with a muddy mix. So in this video we started mixing the drums with the overheads and the cymbals. I hope you learned something useful. If you enjoyed the video, please click the thumbs up button and leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because in the next video we are going to take a look at the kick drum. Thanks for being here. Have a nice day.